one that's right here on my right, called Flukes, that is a bronze sculpture of an abstract kind of tail of a whale. And what stimulated that was years ago, when our sons were still in school, and they were here on a July 4th weekend and had some of their friends out staying with us. I think they were 17, 18. Anyway, I got a call early in the morning, about 4:30, from a person that I've known well here, who was also is in the fishing, the charter fishing business. And she called me and said, are your sons there? Because right out here in the beach in front of your house, there's a sandbar that's about 100 yards, not even offshore, that is normally out at low tide, out of the water. And what had happened is a school of pilot whales, these are 18 to 20 ton fish, pretty, not large whales, but good size pilot whales, had stranded on the sandbar right out in front of our house. And she'd seen it early in the morning, heard about it, and came over and tried to get people living in the area or anybody she could gather to help. The alpha male had gone over the bar when the tide was still above it. And then the tide dropped down as the rest of the pod of whales came following him. They got stranded on a sandbar because it was partially out of water. They couldn't get over it. And they were all down there. We went down, and everyone around here tried to help them off, push them back off the bar, put sheets or whatever we could underneath them to make it easier for them to be pushed back. And they were, and some of the local fishing people had gotten in their boats and were there, were able to put rope around their tails and drag them off the last bit and get them out to sea. Most of them, unfortunately, came back because it's innate in that species that they follow the alpha. And he couldn't get off the beach. He was dying. And so several of them came back, and very sadly we could not keep them on. A number of them lived too, which is great. But what I envisioned, and that this is really an abstract attempt at what would happen when they did get off and could sound, because that's how they find their way, is through sound. And if they could get off and go deep again in the water. So this is really an imagination of that they could live. I never thought of this as anything more than just, I never thought about it as a profession, but so I really liked being involved with it and experiencing, doing, whether abstract or really refined versions of things, trying to construct or create things. But I never thought and then I lost my sight, and I didn't think there would be any future beyond that. But this fellow that became a very good friend and was the caretaker of this house, who came with it when we bought it back in 1978. He and his wife carved shorebirds in the winter, and were very good at it. And he saw me sort of frustrated with not being able to do all the things with my children that I would have with sight. Said, you ought to, in his wonderful New England accent, he called me Godden. So Godden, you ought to try carving. And I said, well, I'd like to try it. And so he got a very sharp penknife and gave me a piece of pine that he just cut out the outline of a whale for a weather vane or, a full whale. But it had to be shaped, the tail and all of it did. And he said, "Boy, why don't you try and do that? And I was sitting down at the beach house. Lily came down. She was going off to grocery shop, and she said, what are you doing? And he was there too. And she said, well, he's going to try to make a shape here with this penknife. And so I was absorbed by it, trying to get that wood to cooperate and come into a shape or form that was attractive and that felt good. Because for me, carving is an awful lot of touch of feeling the wood, as is clay, but this wood is very special to me. And so she went off to get the groceries and came back down and said, how are you doing? And she said, my God, look, that whale's had a shark attack. It's because I've been carving this with a penknife, and as it comes through the wood, sometimes it slip a little, and I cut myself. So there was a lot of my DNA on that whale, and I still have it. It had a lot of blood on it, but the shape came through, and I knew I had to find different tools to use if I wanted to carve wood, because I wasn't going to do too well bleeding like that. But she was very funny about it. It did. I didn't realize I was bleeding. The knife was so sharp, I didn't feel it cutting. But that was how it started. And I kept it and got some tools that really allowed me to shape the wood and change it the way I wanted without that. And then I got some different motorized tools too that I can hold and do that with. So like anything else, it's having the right tools.